the fact that I'm able to reserve myself and be cool for the most part in those high stress situations, people kind of they either gravitate towards it or they're willing to work with me. Even if we can't both get what we want, we'll meet somewhere in the middle. That's what helps me negotiate with others, especially with like high numbers are involved or when parties have like conflicting schedules or timelines or you name it.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Put It on the Counter. This is episode 3, Building the Dream Team. My name is JT and I'm the brand manager of the Corner Store Agency on behalf of the Marcus Graham Project I Create Bootcamp this summer in Los Angeles, California. Before I keep going, talking about all things creative, things you may want to know, things you may never have thought you may have needed, let's go ahead and meet our guest, Josh.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh. I'm Josh Petion. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Canary City to be exact. I live in Los Angeles, California, where I work as a producer in marketing, advertising, film, and all around production. I am a storyteller. I love to tell good stories, and I'm excited to be here today. Thank you, JT.
Thank you, Josh. Before we start, let's give a little context on how we actually met because Josh is a great producer, but he's also a servant leader as well. So,
I appreciate you.
share it.
And as we start, I'm curious actually. Am I looking at you or the camera? What should I? Should I do both? Should I do both? The producer's looking at me, telling me to do both. Got it. I look at the camera. I look at you also. All
Mhm.
right, got it. Being a servant leader is something I feel like you're born with. And luckily for me, I was raised with three brothers and three sisters. So my whole life has been how do I serve others? How do I look out? How do I help? And having majority of my siblings being younger than me really caused me to take that leadership role and to be the first to graduate and to be the first to get a real full-time job and to show them that, hey, there's other options out here for sons and daughters of immigrants. Yeah, that's kind of like my thoughts.
I love that. Do you think that that shows in your day to day now as a producer?
I think it does. I think it does show day to day now as a producer. In my work life, oftentimes people are actually surprised on how compassionate I am with the job. The nature of production is not friendly. The nature of production is very precise, specific, and if things don't happen accordingly, I mean, there's repercussions, and let's just say it's really easy to be stressed. I would say, given given the climate I'm in, I try my best to always show grace and kindness when I work. If I can help out in any way, shape, or form, I do. As a producer, my job is to follow an entire production timeline from the beginning to the end. So if I can help out in the beginning with pre-production or development, I'm gonna do it. If I can help out in production, whether it's helping a director, AD, or PAing, or whatever the case is, I will do it. As a producer, I'll step down and do that job to make sure production runs smoothly. And if it comes to post and I don't know, resize something. I need to add a graphic to something. I need a AE, which is assistant editing. I'll do it. Um, yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. It's like, how can we best help and serve our community? And like in my case, in production, it's that. It's like, how do I help my team?
Yeah, I'm curious to know more of like what your day to day look like. I know that's such a broad question because sometimes like your day can look different. So instead, I'm going to ask you more specifically when it comes down to pre, in, and post production, what's your favorite phase to be in?
Got it.
So, what's your favorite phase of production to be in? And then tell me what a day to day looks like in that phase.
I would say, okay, my favorite. This is so okay. Before I even talk about the phases of production, I'm gonna give you a little like I'm gonna talk a little bit about the different parts, right? So you have um, the P's in between D's, right? So most people probably know that if they're in film or production, but it starts with development, then it's pre-production, production, right? Post-production, and then distribution. So with development, that's just trying to figure out high level. What are we doing? What is the reason for telling the story, right? Are we trying to capture audience for a brand? Do we want to enter a new target market? Is it in a product innovation, brand innovation? What is the purpose to set us off? And then there is like pre-production, where we actually talk about the logistics on how to get this done. Whether it's shooting, whether it's editing, whether it's hiring talent. It's literally all things. And most of the job comes from pre-production. if a pre-production's done well, the job runs smoothly, and if pre-production's done, not as, well, it production can be really tough in the back end, right? For me personally, I think my favorite part of production is the actual production part, which is filming. It's the shortest window. Like it literally takes forever to pre-plan and takes forever to edit or post. Um, but production is like a small window and you have to do it.
Yeah.
But it's just like the quick problem solving, what you have to do. I mean, the way your brain is. I mean, trying to get all the shots you need. I like the thrill of production. And that's like one of my favorite phases. But better than that, I really like the distribution part of production. Um, because you can work really hard on something, but if no one sees it, did it really happen? Does it exist? And most people forget about that. They just forget about how to get it out to the world. So I find it so cool when media teams are able to figure out how to place like ads on billboards, on out of homes, movie theater pre-rolls, um, or even like I'll be in my car sometimes, or I don't drive. I'm from New York, but when I do drive in New York, um, on Spotify, I would tend to hear my radio commercials playing. And it's funny because like most people find it annoying when they hear commercials, but I love it. I literally do not skip.
You don't skip ads?
I literally don't pay for Spotify on purpose so I can hear my ads that
You know,
play.
you're helping somebody get paid for that.
Hey, come
A
on.
giver. Okay.
I'll do
Love that.
it. I'll do it. I'll do it. It's a skill, it's an art, and it's a lifestyle, and I love all things like production.
So would you say the production end is more so like when you're in production, it's more the creative realm versus like distribution is more like logistical?
Yeah, it definitely there's a full media team that usually is like behind getting things out. With production, we do have to be creative, but what I like about it the most is the problem solving capabilities. I'm a producer. I like to make things work, whether it's me having to figure out how to feed 100 people, or whether it's me trying to figure out how to fix a set and do grip and electric. It's me trying to help a director figure out how to stylize a shot so it is effective, right?
Yeah.
I think production is the part that most people they do it gets over glorified, yes, because that's what people usually know when it comes to production or film. But I don't like it for that reason. I love it because it's the shortest window and it's like a sprint and I work really well in high stress situations
Hmm.
and it's like just a mental it's like almost like a game or a puzzle and I'm solving
Yeah.
it in real time and at the end of the day when I say and that's a wrap everyone
Oh, you get to
the
say
amount
that?
yes I do say
They
that
pay you to say that?
yep
Okay.
and whenever that happens I always feel like I can't tell you how happy I mean the endorphins in my brain I
Hmm.
mean I feel great like funny enough when I say that's a wrap I tend to have more energy and want to do another shot. I mean, let's do it again, everyone, from the top. I don't know. That's
That's
kind of how it is.
okay. Now I'm really curious to know like what's been like the most craziest thing that you've been able to like get real resourceful for and problem
Oh,
solve on set.
oh my goodness. Oh my God. Okay, there's two parts of this.
Okay.
I can give you like what I've done in the corporate world in marketing and advertising, and I can give you what I've done like in like films that's outside of like the corporate advertising realm. Maybe I'll give
Okay.
you both. I don't know. Do you want both? I can give you both.
Which one do you feel like really tested you on like I didn't know how he was gonna get it done, but he got it done?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have two that are really good.
Okay, let's get both.
All
Let's
right,
get
let's
both.
do it. Okay, let's do corporate first, and I'll give
Okay.
you the one personal. In 2023, one of my first ever campaigns post MGP, right? So post the Marcus Graham project, was working on the Taco Tuesday LeBron James freeing Taco Tuesday
Mm,
campaign,
that's a
and
great
that was
one.
my first campaign, and I'm
Really?
like working one of the biggest celebrities in the world, right? On a spot that
Wow.
I got like thrown into. Granted, I was an associate producer, so like my role wasn't as heavy, but I still had to do a lot of problem solving. And that campaign came out huge. I'm watching it on TV. I'm like, man, this is a great way to start. Like, this is insane. LeBron James, this is, ugh, man. Um, so that commercial happens, it airs, and we're getting a lot of traction. I mean, we filed a court, we had a court filing to freeing the phrase Taco Tuesday. So like a company called Taco John owned the trademark, and no one else can use it in America without getting cease and desisted. And we, Taco Bell, alongside LeBron James, freed it for everyone, right? No one has the rights to it anymore. And that campaign literally did that. And it was because we chose to not necessarily think about like, dollars or thinking about selling a product, but we did it for the greater good, right? Taco culture. And after that commercial came out, we had to figure out case studies, right? How do we show the world this happened? How can we describe this 30-second, 60-second spot and tie it in with the overall campaign so anyone can understand it? And that was the hard part. That was where I got tested the most so far in my creative career. I was tasked with using one of my cameras, right? Because I'm a filmmaker, and I had to travel to Wyoming, Colorado, and Texas to go film these mom and pop shops that got cease and desisted by Taco John
Say
to
swear.
create for real to create this campaign, this case study. And I mean, I'm in the middle of America. I'm talking about like I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Let's just say there's not many people that look like me out there. And my partner in crime, who's my maker on this, we were there. I mean, that's two black and brown people, and literally like white suburbia, and people were like confused, like what are these like LA people doing with these cameras, and we just had to like hold our heads high and kind of just do it. So we got the interviews, traveled to three different places, and then we got back. They were really surprised on the fact that we were able to shoot all this stuff. And as the case study got created, the agency loved it. We ended up putting it in award shows, and the following year, I won my first Cannes Lion award. That following year, granted, I couldn't go because like I couldn't go to France and do that, but I did go this year.
Shawty, wait.
I
Shawty,
did go
wait.
this year, and it was crazy. Yes, it was
You an
cool.
award-winning man, and you
I
never told me this?
we never had a chance to talk about it. We never had a chance to talk about it. But I was on the
What?
campaign and created the case study, produced the case study that won the Cannes Lion alongside my agency, and
Josh, this
it was
is
amazing. It was yeah.
huge.
And all shout out to Deutsch. I mean, that's where I started my stomping grounds. So
Wow.
like I forever have like love for those like for them in that community.
You're telling me your first campaign ever, you got a Cannes
First
Lions for it.
campaign ever I got a can. I have a picture of me holding both of them. Like I'll show you after this. Maybe like drop it in or something.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, this is incredible. I have a hard time seeing how your personal one could top this.
My first one. All right. Okay, I know we're short on time, so I definitely won't elongate it too much. But the personal one, I had a buddy from college, film school. I went to Fredonia State University, upstate New York. I have the hat on right now, repping Fredonia for life, Blue Devils. Um, and one of my film buddies, his name was Vaughn, right? Vaughn Miller. One of my really good friends. We filmed a whole bunch together. His aunt, right, who is now my aunt, works with this nonprofit organization that does work with young impoverished girls in Kenya, right? Or Singa Island to be exact. And they shot, I guess, maybe like a short demo or promo or something. And it something was missing. Like they just couldn't crack it. And it almost seemed like they had like the savior complex almost, right? Because it's like, okay, who are these non-black people, just white people coming into this very black present area trying to help. And just the tone was off overall. They ended up, my friend ended up recommending me and said, hey, I know this kid, really smart kid who understands the culture, who likes filmmaking, and I think he can help solve this problem.
Hmm.
I took it, I said yes, and that project brought me, right, in 2023, I flew to Rasinga Island and I got to work with young Kenyan girls who are going through civil and human rights issues. And I think I mentioned to you at some point, but a lot of the issues they were having were, it was like early marriages. Girls are 13, 14, 15, getting married to men twice, three times their age, meaning they have to leave school. The second part to that was like, mutilation is still a thing, unfortunately, and like having to figure out like, you know, aside from like the cultural reasonings of doing it, it's like it's really trying to combat that, and that's something that's really, really, really hard to talk about. And then the last thing was like the rampant HIV and STD rates. There was just like there's little to no medicine. It's like how do you help that? And my documentary that I created alongside Dream Believe Repeat, the organization, we got to kind of create a through line on how we can help solve some of these issues. And what that underlying message was, um, involved education. It's like how do we educate? How do we share? How do we allow people to know that these resources exist? How do they know better so this doesn't happen again? And that documentary is like set to come out very soon. And it was probably one of the most meaningful works I've done in my life. And I've done quite a few humanitarian projects. So it's like I have two sides. One that's definitely more corporate, maybe more, along sides of like a brand. The other one was like humanitarian work. And
Very
I take them both
serious.
very serious. And yeah, so those are like the two projects where I feel like really tested me because like I'm in a country that I mean, I don't know it. I didn't know anyone. I don't speak Swahili. I didn't speak any of the tribe languages. Luckily, everyone spoke English here, which helped me. But I had to connect with these young girls, and I think I did a good job because I was able to really pull out great interviews.
Hmm.
And I think it came from my parents being immigrants from Haiti, and I just knew their story on how they lived growing up and like what they had to go through, and just having that understanding helped me in communicating and talking to these young girls, on top of also looking like them, which probably helped them feel comfortable. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I know we talked about your work in Kenya before, and it's phenomenal. I can't wait for it to come out so the world can see it. And I also know just from like knowing you for as long as I have that your communication skills is definitely one that's like memorable, very soft, and just very overall like warm and like touching, to be honest. In regards of like your role as a producer on the corporate level, right? I know something that may be harder to tackle, which I know you do a lot, because every time I see you, you be doing something with numbers. Is like everything dealing with finances and budgeting. Like, how do you get people to like take you seriously, or maybe just negotiate in that realm? Like, I'm not sure what budgeting looks like for you, but how do you balance that with like how you are as a person in those tough conversations?
Right. That's actually a great question. I would say balancing being professional, working with numbers alongside negotiating while still being human and obviously moving with like passion and kindness is tough, but I've kind of learned a middle ground to it. Um, I know some people know this, some people don't, but I actually studied business finance in school for a few years at Fredonia State University, and also I pioneered and like I blazed through Wall Street through my undergrad, like late high school, undergrad, and like early career, um, and there I interned at a hedge fund called Maverick Capital, which gave me the foundation of understanding numbers, right? It's like, how do we deal with like high risk trading, speculative trading? And it's all about how do you convince somebody using numbers. Then doing programs with Credit Suisse, Goldman Sachs, and most recently AIG, which is like a life and retirement insurance company, it's the biggest one in the world. And I got to do like stable value wraps um, with them. And this sounds like it's so ancient. Oh my God, it was like a couple of years ago now. But working in finance in general gave me that background understanding numbers, right? And how to push it. And I think having that background in finance gave me the confidence to work with budgets and to negotiate. And then I would say being a creative, like a filmmaker, helped me on how to kind of like connect with other people. Because when you're on set, you kind of have to know what your team is doing and have to kind of like push through.
Mm-hmm.
I have to understand that this when I'm negotiating, I'm not negotiating against a person. I'm negotiating for the job to get done. And when I get out the mindset of like having to battle or litigate or having to compete, it really helps. It's like, okay, how can we both barter so that we both get what we want, right? I want this campaign to come to life. I want this job to happen. I want to get this talent in the door. I want to get this director. I want to get this maker, this editor. Okay, what do you need? Okay, they need maybe they need a certain budget to be met. If I can't reach that budget, I would figure out a way where I can also make it work. Whether it's me shortening the hours, the days, whether it's me uh having to on my end go to my team and be like, hey, I think we need a little more money on this project to make it work, and go to the clients. In all, it's like, okay, how do I negotiate not for Josh a person, but for this brand, this community, for these people. And on my project when I went to Kenya, like these girls, right? It's like, how do I push and I've learned that, contrary to popular belief, it's actually it's less it's less appropriate, in my opinion, to be aggressive in those conversations unless you absolutely need to. Like, absolutely need to. Usually, people are really understanding, are super cool, and we can have a conversation like this And most times when you kind of lead with that compassion, people see it, and and you have grace, and they'll be willing to work with you. Like I've learned that. I've learned the fact that I'm able to reserve myself and be cool for the most part in those high stress situations. People kind of they either gravitate towards it or they're willing to work with me. Even if we can't both get what we want, we'll meet somewhere in the middle. That's what helps me negotiate with others, especially with like high numbers are involved or when parties have like conflicting schedules or timelines or you name it.
Yeah. I remember you had said something about how when you have to get creative, when like budget may be a little tight, that you just make sure you communicate with your team well. I'm curious to know like what are the personalities or like people archetypes that you like prefer to work on and like a dream team of making things work even when like you have hurdles.
Right. That's a great question. I I think the perfect dream team of archetypes to have on a team, right? Or I believe the perfect archetypes to have on a team that makes that makes us a dream team varies. I feel like we shouldn't have too many people who are similar, but we should have people who can help create somewhat of a friction to get a spark going, right? Because when a spark comes out, the fire blazes. If everyone is very passive or if everyone is super astute and real logical, it doesn't leave room for creativity, or we're going with this group think mentality where things doesn't move. You really need to make sure you have someone who's good with numbers, right? Someone who maybe is really cautious and like some might say like nervous, or they're preemptively trying to avoid issues in the long run, right? They're like projecting, or maybe it's somewhat anxious, but it works in our benefit. We need people who are visionaries. They might not necessarily see how to get there exactly, but they know where they want to go. And we need people who's like down to like lay the bricks, brick by brick, and like get the pieces going. And then you need someone like similar to me with like the kind of like passion to kind of push people, maybe the charisma to help, the communication to kind of like make sure everyone understands what the next set of goals are. You really need a mix. And I've learned my favorite team usually involves it all. If too many people on the team are similar, we're not going anywhere. I mean, granted, you think you might be, or you think you're making everyone happy, but like we're not going anywhere. It's not going to work. We need to talk. We need a little bit of conflict. We need those hard conversations, because usually at the other side of those conversations, the hard ones especially, um, is fruitful endeavors, right? It's actionable next steps. It's an overall game plan to take us to where we want to go. As long as we all kind of like know where we're heading and everyone knows their role and how to get us there, things things would work. And I think that's the dream team.
This ad is sponsored by Notify Creative. Based in Dallas, Texas, Notify Creative is a production hub built on the belief in creating work that speaks for itself, specializing in photography and videography, capturing compelling stories through the lens. Founded by Corey Hicks, Notify Creative exists to document moments into visual narratives that resonate. Follow the Instagram page at Notify Creative. And now back to the show.
So, y'all, it's time for our segment, Cats Out the Bag, where we give our guests 90 seconds to come up with a grand idea off of the creative prompt that we give them. Josh, are you ready?
All right. Hey, ready as I'll ever be.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do it, JT.
Okay. This is your prompt.
Let's go.
In 2023, MTA celebrated the 50th anniversary of hip hop
I
with
remember
limited
this.
edition Metro cards. Okay, with the faces of New York's greatest rappers like LL Cool J and your favorite.
Pop Smoke.
I know that's
I
right.
remember that one.
Okay.
In Canarsie, Brooklyn.
Hello. So, your prompt is, as somewhat of a LA transplant native now, if you had to come up with a theme of Metro cards for LA to celebrate LA culture, what people would you like to feature? You have 90 seconds to come up with an idea.
That is great. Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Do I start now? Do I
I'm
just
gonna
start
count you down.
Are you coming down? Cool.
Okay. 5,
Uh-huh.
4,
Right.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
He's frazzled. I'm supposed to talk through this? Okay. So, as we just mentioned, Josh is from New York. I do not like New York, but I will say when I went to New York, I made sure that I got one of these cars. It was really hard. It was viral all over TikTok. So even if you weren't like a New York native, this went far and beyond into what Josh said. Pop Smoke is definitely his favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled up to the train stations and pulled out 20 of them. But you know what? I'm really interested to see what he cooks up with this one, because Josh has been out here for like a little minute now since the MGP program and starting at Dorch. So let's see exactly what he cooks up, because it could be anything. Oh, 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds left. He's cooking. He got his hand on his chin. He's thinking, trying to fathom how could he outdo New York.
I tried to think, who else could I think of? I'm trying to think, who else could I definitely okay.
Get some inspiration. Maybe some of your work, the people that you've done stuff with. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But yes.
Yeah. What did you come up with?
Okay, so when I was thinking of this prompt, right, how do we celebrate the historic moments of LA that tap into not just culture but music? I thought about, what were the pillars or the foundations of what made LA hip hop central, right? Hip hop was created in the Bronx, in New York. Brooklyn made hip hop better, but it was created in the Bronx. But the West Coast really brought out like the gangster rap, or like the real like rawness. I think it was a song called like, I think it was like 6 in the Morning. It might have been like, I think it might have been Ice-T's song. It was like the first ever song that like literally talked about life in LA and how like intense it was. What helped LA become what it is musically. And I really leaned heavy on like the pillars of the hip hop movement in LA. And the artist I chose embodies hip hop in LA till this day, like in moment. And the first person obviously that I said was Tupac, because
Period.
he is,
Love that.
cultural phenom. What he's done in the music world would never
Absolutely.
be like touched. He's like a legend, a living legend. That being said, Ice-T with his first song, 6 in the Morning, and how he pioneered that kind of energy and vibe and ushered it right into hip hop. I also threw in Ice Cube and NWA, because like those guys really made a huge movement. I mean, Straight Outta Compton, that movie alone, I forgot what it grossed, but no one thought a movie like that could do well in the box office, but it like blown out almost every record. And I'm actually a fan of NWA now. I remember watching it like when I was 15, and it was like, oh man, this is so cool. I want to be from Compton. And now I'm actually might be moving to Compton soon, so who knows, right? Then I threw in Snoop, because, representing Long Beach City, Snoop, another pioneer in the hip hop scene, still around doing his thing. I kind of started going more recent. Obviously Kendrick Lamar. I mean, one of the best top 3, rappers in our time right now. And like the movement he has going on, he has to be on that list. I threw in one of the icons, Nipsey Hussle.
That was when I was
wasn't I wasn't necessarily an active listener of his, but after he passed away and I heard some of his songs, like, okay, you know what? He was very motivational. His music really helped push things. Kobe Bryant, because like the Mamba forever. I mean, we're in LA. You have to feature the Mamba. The Mamba is
absolutely.
Kobe is one of the best who's ever done it, and what he has done in NBA would live on for generations. He's like Jerry West, And for those who don't know, Jerry West is the logo for the NBA. He is the NBA logo, and never be forgotten. And I think Kobe is up there.
One thing I love about how you're so like culturally in tune is you also like lift up your cultural community in regards to like your local, your niche people. He does it all. Thank you. That was I'm not gonna lie. 90 seconds, you ate up. I didn't give you much time either. You did cheat a little bit, but I'm gonna give you some great. Thank you so much, Josh, for stopping by the corner store for another episode of Put It on the Counter and also our segment of Cats Out the Bag. I had so much fun learning more about you, what you do inside and outside of work, as well as just where your mind is at. This game was just so fun. Do you have any last words to share with our guests?
First of all, thank you so much. Thank you to the Marcus Graham Project. Thank you to the Corner Store Agency. Thank you to JT. Thank you to Jamyr. Thank you to Jocelyn. Thank you to the community that's out here doing it. I mean, you guys are literally setting paths for everyone to follow you in the future. I mean, you guys literally are doing your thing. And I'm just so proud to see you all kill it and have me, be a guest on your show. Like, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't expect it, so being called is an honor. Any last things I would say? I would say, go forth and be prosperous, right? Carpe diem, right? Seize the day, everyone here. And remember, it's always better to give grace and to move with compassion and kindness, even in moments where you feel like it will be difficult, right? There's a wonder in finding that human truth and just and leading with humanity, right? I think it makes not only your community better, but it makes the world a better place. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Josh.
Of course.
And thank you guys so much for watching another episode of Put on the Counter, Building the Dream Team.